Howdy, folks. Happy Tuesday. We don't usually do shows on Tuesday, but Russ is going on vacation starting tomorrow, so we won't have a show until next Monday, right? It'll be back for Monday?
Yes, Monday
Okay.
I'll be back.
So, we won't share the details. It's an undisclosed location.
You
Unlike,
won't find me.
yeah.
Trust me, I'm not going to Canada.
He's not going.
And I'm not going to Dallas. But I'll say yet, because you never know. I might be going to Dallas at some point.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've already been to Dallas once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just, of course, for historical purposes, I needed to go to Dealey Plaza. And I still cannot believe to this day that they had an X marked.
Yeah, that was crazy. I agree. That hit me weird when we.
It really was weird. And what I'm talking about is they have an X painted on the street where the headshot for John Kennedy happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I stood on the podium where Zapruder recorded his film. I stood behind the fence at the grassy knoll and held up a finger like I was the second gunman.
Yeah.
And we went into the book depository and did the whole thing.
That was great. That
was very interesting.
It was a history lesson.
Yes, yeah. Not that I needed it because I knew it already, but for you, well, Anthony too, because he's a history teacher. But for
right, it's good to experience it though.
Yeah. Okay, we'll start with the pre-show. Go ahead, Russ.
Yeah. So interesting stuff right now with the NFL. You're in that kind of a lull of the season, but there's fun stories. There's a fun story about a Jets pick who I think his father worked at SI. There's a whole thing, and so you maybe want to read that. There's a lot of picks get out there now and do a lot of press, but me as a Jet fan, I'm still and so far this is a pretty good year for New York, right? I mean the Rangers are looking good. I keep telling on my FanDuel spot, I keep telling them to bet the Knicks, and so far it's working. I don't know when that's going to run out, but
it's like the referees bet the Knicks last night on that. Like I said, I actually would like to see the Knicks win because they haven't won since '73.
I was 10 years old when they last won.
They haven't won since '73. And they're actually a likable team. They don't have a big star that I don't like. I didn't like Patrick Ewing. I like Brunson, and they're sort of underdogs, and I think they'll beat Indiana. I don't think they'll beat the Celtics, who are my team, but
I think that's ultimately the problem. But I will say this: loser mentality when you're a coach and you lose the first game of a series and you're already blaming the refs. To me, that's a loser mentality. I like that.
I just thought the funniest thing, and I told Jan this because Jan posted the video clip of the charge, or often the offensive foul on Indiana when the Knicks were up by a point, and the TNT cameras cut immediately to Mariano Rivera, Nestor Cortez, and some other Yankee who had floor seat. It was hilarious that they cut right to them and them reacting. It was funny.
That's weird. The only thing I was going to say about football is, I just don't know what to think about. Will Aaron Rodgers get to at least through game one of the regular season? Because that's a thought of mine that I've had a few times. But I'm going to go back to the NBA though, because you really did. You brought up something with the Knicks. It's an interesting thing because people in New York like the Knicks much better than the Rangers. There's just more basketball fans. It's just the way it is. And when I grew up, they were like a gold standard. It kind of went away. So I do wonder if they're going to at least capture it seems like they've captured the imagination for now.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big deal. I still think if they face the Celtics or somebody, they're going to lose.
It is weird though that we're sort of going in a time warp here. The Rangers and the Knicks both having success. Exactly 30 years after the Rangers won the cup, the Knicks went into the finals. OJ just died, and everything that was tied to the Knicks. They were playing the Rockets, weren't they?
Yes.
Okay. everything was tied to the white Bronco chase, interrupting the NBA final and having that. I still, to this day, they had the friggin' Bronco in big on the screen, and they had the Knicks game, the NBA.
Yeah, they minimized it.
Yeah, it's like.
But I'm going to tell you, I think it was the game before that. My wife and I were at a Phil Collins concert when he was doing a solo tour. Okay. And I had a little Sony Watchman, and I was watching the game while the concert was going on, and I had a crowd of about 15 people wanting to watch the final 10 minutes of that game against the Rockets. That whole series was great, and so yeah, we'll see how it works out.
Let me just.
I'm not really a Knick fan anymore. I'm not.
No. Let me just, because you mentioned Phil Collins, and then we'll start the show.
Well, everybody's saying we're mentioning Patrick Ewing on the day of the lottery. There's no reason that I did that. Mike did that.
Well, okay. Right. No, so Phil Collins. A friend of mine posted a cover of In the Air Tonight by some band that I've never heard.
Yeah, the Rangers play that.
Yeah, not the one from the reboot of Miami Vice.
No.
This is another band, and it's honestly, it's really bad. And normally I have no problem with covers if the covers are true to the original. Like I'll give you an example. Stone Temple Pilots did a cover of Dancing Days by Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard it.
It's great. And it's very true to the original. Everybody who tries to cover In the Air Tonight, they can't cover In the Air Tonight because it's atmospheric. It's got the Phil Collins drums. You can't do it. So don't do it.
You know what it is? They try and make it overly dramatic.
Right. And
it's hard to capture that. But because do it. That's why the Rangers were playing it, but not Phil's version because it probably cost too much money. Because they're trying to capture that before, the teams hit the ice after a period. I get it. There's some drama there, but yeah. One last thing.
Yeah.
A concert thing. I just saw this pop up, and it's interesting because I have 3 concerts over the summer, and they're all in August. And now I've added a 4th because Deep Purple is actually touring with Yes, what's left of Yes. Now,
Richie Blackmore?
No, not Richie Blackmore, but Ian Gillan and who's the other bassist who's really good? Roger Glover. And I think they may still have 3 members. I mean, Gillan's getting old. I think he's 78. And I was like, I've never seen them. And they do have some great songs. I wish Blackmore were touring. He's not.
Yeah,
he's still on that rainbow kick, and that'll be his last thing. But and so the Yes thing is interesting just simply because they're added to that show, right? So I'm going to do it, but I'm more excited to see Deep Purple because I've never seen them. So I was like, all right.
I mean, if it was the original band, I would definitely be in on that. But yeah, I don't know.
It's close to the original.
I hate this. I really do because I love music and I love the bands that I saw. But like all the guys most of the ones, they're in their 70s and they just most of them can't do it anymore.
Yeah, so, there's exceptions. I guess we've said John Anderson.
John Anderson can still sing. Yeah, I mean, but it's even bands that are of the next generation, like Rush. I mean, I saw Rush on their last tour and they were really good, but that was about it. And then I saw Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson do 2112 at the Taylor Hawkins memorial concert.
Yeah,
and it was good, but it was only a few years and you could tell.
Yeah, here's who's in the band. It's Ian Gillan, Roger Glover, Ian Pace, Don Airey, and Simon McBride.
Ian Pace is great. So that's three. That's great. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean,
it's not bad.
It's not bad. No, if they're around here, close to here, maybe I'd consider it. Okay,
yeah, I got a $50 seat, like whatever.
There you go. Let's start the show. Hello, Hockey World. Today is Tuesday, May 7th, 2024.
I'm Russ Cohen from NHLDraftBuzz.com. It's the draft, Mike. It's my draft.
I know. Good suggestive selling. And I'm Michael Lagello, and this is the Hockey Buzzcast here on HockeyBuzz.com. Plug. Okay. Let's start with we don't have to. We covered this a little bit yesterday, and we'll just reiterate it because it's now official. Travis Green has been announced as the Ottawa Senators' new head coach. He signs a 4-year contract. I do know that there's some talk out there. I think Nick Kypreos put it out there that they went on the cheap hiring Travis Green. They were apparently interested in Berube, but I guess Berube maybe has higher paying possibilities in New Jersey. Maybe he's holding out, waiting for Toronto to see if that falls into his lap. But I know you're a big fan of Travis Green, Russ.
I don't want to seem like I'm a basher, right? He has some possibilities as a coach. I just haven't seen him do it. Like I said, we went back. He did well in Utica. He had one playoff as a NHL coach. I think he was out in the second round, right, with the Canucks. If you go back to the Portland Winterhawks, sure, he did great there, but that's like 2012 already. And I didn't particularly like what he did with the Devils, Mike. Well, now, he did get Timo Meier straight, but I thought with the chance of moving on, now again, it wasn't all on him because he didn't have all the personnel. But I still felt like he had enough personnel where he could have given the Devils a little bit of a better chance. And that's coloring my decision a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad choice.
No, it's not a horrible choice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
for 4 years, I don't like that.
Right. Well, I mean, there may have been competition from other teams. I think structurally, he's a good coach, and I think that team needs structure. I mean, there's a lot of talent there.
It'd be like signing you for this show for 4 years. How would that have worked out?
Well, 4 years ago, it would have been pretty good because I'm here all the time. But I mean, but the problem here is, just like New Jersey, and you could argue, but I think the Ottawa Senators are a good goaltender away from being a playoff team. There's just been inconsistency in goal. Now the problem is they signed Korpisalo to a big contract, so they're really stuck there unless they go out and spend more money on a contract on a goaltender. So he's coming from New Jersey where they only got decent goaltending at the deadline, which was too late. In Capo Kakkonen and Jake Allen, and now in Ottawa you've got what? You've got Korpisalo and is Anton Forsberg still under contract?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great collection of goalies there either. Matt Sogard maybe can do something. I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean,
it ain't great.
I mean, defensively, and this will be the interesting thing with Ottawa is you've got Jacob Chychrun, I think, in the walk year of his contract.
He is.
Yeah, so you've got to get that resolved.
He'll trade his rights at the draft for like a 3rd round pick.
You mean they'll hold on to him for 1 more year and then trade his rights?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. He has 1 more year left.
Yeah, he's going to
They'll hold on to him for 1 more year, then they'll trade his rights. I don't think they're going to trade him.
Now, there's been some talk that they would trade Shabbat and then sign Chychrun, but that would indicate that they think they've
been standoffish. Like, I know his dad watches his games there and he likes it there, but he's been standoffish, so I don't feel like he's re-signing there.
Yeah. Well, then, I mean, he definitely is a guy that,
But I do think they want to compete, right? So, I don't think they're going to trade him because of that.
Depending on what they get back.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, right now we've got Seattle, San Jose, New Jersey, all looking for coaches. We've got, let's see here. I was just writing.
It's weird. You have a new team in Salt Lake City and they have a coach.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the other coaching news was Drew Bannister, who right. St. Louis took the interim tag off. He's going to be there for 2 years.
What that tells me is that Doug Armstrong is safe for another 2 years.
Right. So right now, San Jose, Seattle, Winnipeg, and New Jersey have openings. Los Angeles, it sounds like from what I heard from Elliot Friedman that Hiller is probably going to get that job, but he's still got the interim. And Columbus, I think Pascal Vincent is still up in the air.
Yeah,
so,
I think they'll wait and see if anybody's interested in Columbus before they send him on the street. If not, he'll probably keep his job. And then as far as Hiller goes, I think this is like Blake's last guy. So I think
he's got to keep him.
He's got to keep him. I don't think there's really any option there.
Yeah, and the talk we had a couple days ago, I think it was Jan was on the show at that point when we were talking about Dubois. Blake came out and said that they're not going to buy out Dubois, and I guess ownership basically gave Blake a vote of confidence, so he's going to be back there. So
yeah. I mean, Esmir's got a point. Like, I like Jay Leach. I've talked about Jay Leach, but I don't think Jay Leach is going to get the Devils job. I think it might be Berube. So that's that's another thing. And then I like John Gruden as a potential coach too, but doesn't seem like he's getting any talk right now. So
no, I haven't heard anything. I mean, there was a lot of talk about him in Ottawa because of the connection with him to the ownership and to Staios, but he's liked in the Leaf organization, but not as a coaching head coaching option. I think he'll stay with the Marlies unless San Jose. I mean, San Jose he might be a good fit for San Jose. I mean, I don't know. This is the thing. I mean, honestly, San Jose right now is a waste zone. I think they're waiting. They're hoping, and we'll talk about the lottery in a little bit. If they win the lottery, they'll be able to get a coach because then you'll have Eklund and Celebrini. Right. And if they don't get them, then it's going to be a lot. They still have Will Smith. They still have Bordelot. They have some prospects, but it's going to be a long haul for that. And they have to dig themselves out of some bad contracts. Vlasic is a boat anchor. So is Couture, unless both of them go on long-term injury. So there's a lot of crap to dig out there with Mike Greer.
Yeah, that's why they're better off hiring someone like Gruden or Leach, because it's going to take a while, like you said. There's no quick answer. Now, yeah, tonight could make it a little better for them, but they're still 3 years away, it looks like.
Yeah. So let's talk about last night's game, Florida and the Bruins. The conventional wisdom was Boston coming 48 hours after playing Game 7 against Toronto, that Florida would be lying in wait for them and, they would kick their ass. But I was thinking something different in that respect, in the sense that usually a team that is playing and another team that is sitting, the team that's been playing, at least initially, has the advantage because they're sort of in the swing of things. They got their blood flowing, and the other team takes a game or so to get going. So, it's not surprising that Boston played as well as they did.
No, actually, I think you're 100% right on that. I think the rest hurt Florida. Florida played well for a little while in that game, and then their game just sort of fell off. And I think it's just like this slight tinkering that they need because they just haven't played in a week. And so, yeah, and right now, for all we know, Swayman is the hot goalie. Like, until further notice, him or Shesterkin are the best goalies in the playoffs. So that's a pretty big deal. Like, he's not in danger of losing his job now. Allmark is going to sit there on the bench hugging him at the end of the game with his, that's all that's going to happen. So I don't see them making a switch out of Swayman the whole time. So it's just, I think Florida will get back into, like you said, I think this was just a bad effort from them because they just sat too long.
Yeah, and you could see the blueprint of what Florida is gonna do.
Yeah.
They were destroying Pasternak. They were on him constantly. They hit him. I saw him get hit 3 or 4 times. One
time he got up slow, like that. Yeah. Where he went straight into the ice. Ooh. His shoulder's bothering him.
Yeah, and there's some speculation that Marchand got hurt in the Toronto series because he had, I think it was 8 points in the first 4 games, and then the last 3 games he had 2 shots.
Well, maybe he hurt his tongue. I'm not sure.
Yes, he's allergic to Leo Komarov's sweat.
No, but I just say because he yaps too much too. But yeah, he might be. I still thought he was pretty effective though.
Yeah,
that was, the interesting thing was they got scoring from a lot of different places. Was happy to see, the Brandon Carlo story is a perfect one because many times when a guy comes in after just having a baby or something, or sometimes it's their birthday and they haven't had time to really sleep, they do really well because it's all adrenaline. And
Yeah,
so
they're not thinking about the game. They're thinking
right,
about everything else, and
right.
and
And so that was nice to see Carlo get that. But yeah, I think the second game will be a different story.
Yeah, and I think Sam Bennett practiced this morning, so he'll be back. The NHL announced the 3 finalists for the Hart Trophy.
No surprise, really.
No surprise. Kucherov, McKinnon, and McDavid.
I had Panarin in that mix. Like those 4 are my 4.
Yeah, I didn't vote this year, but I still did the voting and for my own purposes, and I had McKinnon winning, or McKinnon.
Yeah,
McKinnon 1, Kucherov 2, McDavid 3, Matthews 4, Panarin 5. So
I had Matthews, I believe, in my top 5 as well.
Right, 69 goals, you can't.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the conventional wisdom here is that McKinnon is going to win, even though Kucherov and McDavid each had 100 assists. And Kucherov led the league. I think he had 150 points, something like that.
Yeah.
McKinnon was a few points behind, but he had 51. He had the most goals of the 3 of them, and Colorado was the best.
He just does so much too. Like
yeah.
He's done so, and he played fewer games, right? A couple fewer games. There's just so much that McKinnon did that I just felt like he was the guy this year. But it's a close battle. If any one of those, I think it's between him and Kucherov, really, like a two-guy race.
Just for shits and giggles, the ABC broadcast of Game 7, Toronto-Boston, had the largest first-round audience in 12 years, 3.2. Yeah, so that's proof that everybody loves to watch a train wreck. Okay,
it's just like watching a tire fire. There's no doubt about it.
No, we'll just touch on this for a few minutes, not dominate the whole Leaf conversation.
McKinnon played 82 games. I don't know why I thought he missed a few, but you know how many shots he took, Mike? This is crazy. 305.
400. Wow. That's pretty good. And my arms would be tired taking 400 shots. Okay, so the news in Toronto right now is that there's no news, which is not surprising. I don't think that, I'm writing something for Hockey Buzz today, and it says anybody who expected
instant gratification, you weren't going to get it. They're not
roll out the guillotine on 40 Bay, carry out Brendan Shanahan, bring me the head of Sheldon Keefe. Yeah. Mitch Marner's been traded to Timbuktu. Yeah, none of that was happening. But the interesting thing is, the conventional wisdom is, and if I had to guess, Sheldon Keefe will be fired in the next 48 hours.
Right.
The interesting thing is that the managerial media availability, which was scheduled for Thursday, has been pushed to Friday.
Of course, because they can up it that way.
Well, that's the thing. There are two interpretations of that. One, like you said, Friday afternoon news dump. They announced that Shanahan is staying, but because Shanahan is going to be on the dais with Keith Pelly, the head of MLS&E, and Brad Treliving. I don't know. This is what I said. Right now, Shanahan is part of it. When the media availability for the Sabres was announced last month, Don Granato was on the list.
Well, no, but usually coaches are. They let the coaches have their say, but this is a different thing, though.
Well, no, what I'm saying is he was on the list, and then 24 hours later he was fired. So that doesn't mean that Shanahan could be fired in the next 2 days, and they could just take him off the list. But right. But I think the definite is Keefe is gone. I think I don't know any inside info, but I think that makes sense after 5 years. That's the start of things.
It seems that way.
I think it's right now about 50-50 that Shanahan is gone. It sounds like that there's a reorganization at MLS&E to undo what Tim Lewicki did 10 years ago, which he brought in like an extra level of management. He hired Shanahan. He hired Masai Ujiri with the Raptors. He hired somebody for Toronto FC. They're now interested in basically getting rid of that because it's cost. and the Raptors, even though they won an NBA championship, now they're back to being the Raptors. And and nobody really cares about Toronto FC except soccer fans. But the Leafs, I mean, that's the money-making engine there. And if they're paying Shanahan $7 million a year or whatever they're paying him to not be in Toronto all the time and to not be attentive to the needs of the team, or at least not make the decision.
We don't know he's not attentive. We don't.
Well, I mean, by attentive, I mean successful. I mean,
okay.
maybe he's making decisions. Maybe he's in control, but the decisions that he has made, specifically the decision to keep the core together, has been a disastrous failure. So I don't know. I think it's 50-50. It's very possible that he stays. I don't think
this has all the makings of like a big nothing burger. Mm-hmm. And what would be interesting is if it's that, and if it's just Sheldon Keefe and nothing else.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just think at this point, I think Leaf fans are just going to be apathetic. You're exactly right. And
apathy is death.
Yeah.
I mean, I said that when it comes to Buffalo, and that's why I think one of the reasons why they brought Ruff back, because now there's excitement. Oh my God,
yes,
Lindy
again.
Lindy, we whoop-de-doo. Yeah. Okay, great. If he wins, there'll be a lot of people. Bring back the glory days. He got us to the Stanley Cup final where we got screwed by the NHL. Like, okay, whatever. I mean, I wouldn't bring that up if the owner didn't bring that up at the press conference. He brought up no goal in '99.
Yeah.
But they cannot leave it just at Sheldon Keefe. If they do, let's just say I think there's going to be a lot. Not to say that all of a sudden it's going to look like Sunrise, Florida.
It's going to be anarchy, Mike.
No, but I'm just saying there's not going to be empty seats. Some people will say, well, you couldn't tell the difference because there are empty seats when they're getting their sushi at the beginning of the second period. But it's not like they're going to be empty sections of if they're still a good team and successful during the regular season. But you don't want the fan base and you don't want the media in Toronto to be constantly haranguing this team for bringing back the band again. And
so assuming the band comes back and there's no change in the core, who again they still have had some success. You can't say they're successless. They're not. Again, it's gonna just be working around the edges, and
that doesn't work.
No, we can't say it's not going to work every time because there could be a year where it works.
No,
but it's going to make Triller's job harder. But I'm sure he knew that when he took it. Like, he had to have known that this could be a possibility.
Well, and, again, my shoulder's sore, so I will not pat myself on the back. But
on camera.
Yeah, right. I'll do it after the show. But the scenario that I've been talking about for easily 3 or 4 months is the way it's playing out. Because, okay, and I think it was Elliot Friedman it was Elliot or either Steve Dangle or somebody, one of the, people talking about the Leaf situation said, okay, you go to John Tavares and you say, John, is there any place that we could trade you to that you would accept it? And, he's 33, 34 years old. He's got 1 year left in the contract. He's got a no move clause. He's got 3 young kids. He's going to say, no, I'm not going anywhere. I want to, and now if they tell him, okay, we're not going to sign you after this year, he could very easily retire at 35. He's made a ton of money.
He's a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, I mean, he could still play, and I think he still can play. And I actually think that, the organization wouldn't mind bringing him back at a lower salary. But if it's like, we need to force you out now, again, you try to force out John Tavares, you get all authoritarian in here. You got to waive your no move clause, or you make this ugly. You will never get another big time free agent to come to Toronto ever again. He's well liked in the NHL. He's got a big time agent. I think Pat Brisson is his agent, but I'm not sure. Check Puckpedia just to see who his agent is. But if it's not him, it's It's Don Meehan. He's got one of the big agencies.
Meehan, actually.
Yeah, he's got one of the big agencies. So you're not gonna do that. Okay, so now it's Mitch Marner, and Mitch Marner's taking heat, and everybody's going at Mitch Marner, and but he said, "I want to stay." We're treated like. What's that?
It's Don Meehan because it's Newport Sports. Remember they had the whole tour of the.
Yep. Well, that was Brad Richards, but
he did it too. No, he did it too.
Okay, I don't remember, but yeah, I'll take your word.
I thought he did.
I don't think so. It was, but they go to Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner's agent is Darren Ferris, and I think it was CJ that mentioned that Darren Ferris likes to take his clients to free agency. So if the Leafs try to say, well, is there any place you'd go? And he says, no, I want to stay in Toronto. And Toronto says, well, okay, we're not going to sign you to an extension. Then Marner is like, okay. And they play out next year. And okay, after next year, you get $22 million in cap space. But here's the problem. You lost two of your best players. The whole point of all this is to maybe trade one of them and get value back. If you can't get value back, then all you're getting is the cap space. So really, and this is a disaster of their own making. You gave them no move clauses. And last year was the last time you could have traded Marner before the no move clause kicked in, before you gave Nylander the contract. So if this is
I gotta ask you, off topic, but still with the Leafs. Is this tweet from Justin Bieber real that David Pastrnak looks like he answered? Did you see this?
No, say that again.
So Justin Bieber, it looks like, because they're verified, looks like he had a tweet that said, "Dear Lord, please be with Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and all the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight as they play Game 7 against the Bruins." And then what looks like Pasternak's account said, "Not today, Justin."
Whatever. I mean, the troll.
I think Pastrnak would do that.
But the trolling out there on Leaf fans. I mean, I like I said, so a member of my family is a Leaf fan, so I hear all of this stuff all the time, and it's just really annoying. But it's deserved. They're a pathetic loser.
It is deserved. Like at the end of the day,
they're a pathetic losing organization. And okay, they're successful, they're big, they're the center of the hockey universe, all those things. But the problem is that they cannot get over the line. They've won one series in 8 years. So some people think that saying that they're a bunch of losers is over the top. Then shut me up. How do you prove that you're not losers? You win, and they haven't won. So right. I'm sorry, there's no empirical evidence there that they're winners because they lose all the time. Now, it's not one game. It's a 7-game series. It's a team sport. There's a lot of things, injuries, and all. I get that. I'm not stupid. But, there are other teams that get over the hump. There are other teams that overcome, and this team has not been able to. And I always go back to the construct of the team. They're not built goal out, defense out. They're built top heavy with 4 expensive forwards who don't score in the playoffs. If they score, they'll win, but they don't score, so they don't win.
Yeah, it's hard to go against that, but we'll see.
Okay.
Maybe Living will do something. Maybe he'll get Markstrom from Calgary. Who knows?
Yeah, Frank Cirelli and Chris Johnson talked about this. Cirelli also mentioned it does happen that players do move their no movement clause every once in a while, but the return will be lower. Yeah, I mean, he's only going to go where he wants to go.
Right. It'll mitigate a return for sure.
Right. I mean, so, who knows? We'll be talking about this for the next couple months. So anyway, why don't we talk?
I'm kind of hoping we don't.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I think we will. The announcement on the World Championships, Darren Drager posted out that Team Canada has added Pierre-Luc Dubois, so I'm sure he'll be all excited and all motivated to play for Team Canada. Nick Paul and Brandon Hagel. Now that's no news, but the news was Adam Fantilli and Macklin Celebrini, who is the presumptive number 1 overall pick in the next draft, have decided to return home. Why? Because they're not going to play.
Right. I mean, look, this is a dumb move by Hockey Canada. If you're telling me you'd rather have Pierre-Luc Dubois over Celebrini and Fantilli, just for the sheer excitement of it, just for the future of letting Celebrini start being a part of Hockey Canada.
Right.
Same with Fantilli. These are two guys that could be on like the next Olympic team. Why in the world would you do this? Like, and I understand that the young guys signed on knowing that they could be replaced.
Right.
And Hockey Canada is like, yeah, well, if you still want to travel with the team, that's great. And they're like, no, if we're not a big part of this team, we don't want to be a part of it. And it's just, I don't understand it. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean,
your future. Why in the world would you do this?
I mean, I remember back to 2016 when Matthews was part of Team USA and Laine was part of Team Finland, and they were putting on a show at the World Championships, and everybody's like, and this could have been the same thing for Celebrini. But I mean, Russ, this smacks to me of 72 Canada-Russia.
It does.
Halfway through the series, Gilles Perreault and Rick Martin and a couple other players went back to Canada because Harry Sinden told them, you're not going to play. And Perreault played really well in the first 3 or 4 games.
I remember, I'm trying to think. I watched the movie, and I'm trying to think. I want to say either Gilbert or Rattel went back too.
Yeah, I think it was Gilbert.
Yeah.
I think it was Gilbert. But the whole point was, they told them you're not going to play, so why sit in a hotel in Russia for 2 weeks and watch the other guys play? So that's why they went home. So
it's just like these guys are your future.
Right.
You should have them playing good roles on the team. Now the next time they get invited, they're going to be like, World Championships, who cares?
Right. Well, I mean, if they want an entree to being in the good graces of Canada for the Olympics,
but they won't care because they already got jerked.
Right. All right. We're gonna do this and then talk a little bit about the lottery here. We got the draft lottery simulator thing of courtesy of Tankathon. So the lottery is tonight at 6:30. I'm sure it'll be about 7:00 because we'll get like 3 commercial breaks. And
just don't reveal too much like they did last year. Just do it right.
Just please.
That was terrible.
So brutal. But here we go. The winners, the Utah.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I know Coyotes fans will be mad, but it's a new day. It's a new team. And you know what? That's a hell of a way to usher it in, man.
Yeah, that if again, frozen envelope or frozen.
Stop it.
Okay, we'll do one more just to see because that would be. See, that would be.
Look, Mike, this is where the math is rough. Philly 12. We'll do it again, and they'll still probably be 12.
Okay, here we go. No, we're not doing
12. Yep. Oh no, this is great.
No, we're not.
I want to see Mike's reaction. Oh
no, that's worse. That's worse. Ottawa winning it. That is worse. Holy moly! There you go. Let him go to San Jose. All right. So
keep talking for 1 second.
Yeah. No, please. Having him go. I wouldn't mind Celebrini going to Calgary. I would. I wouldn't. I think it would definitely help San Jose. Anaheim, Chicago, I think would be a disaster simply because, Anaheim's got Carlson, they got McTavish, they got Zegras. It's just one more really talented forward. So in Chicago, everybody will be screaming bloody murder because, they get Bedard and Celebrini back to back, and that'd be like replacement for Kane and Taves. Karen, sorry. I am making sure that I'm going to send a virus to the NHL Network to prevent the broadcast from showing the Montreal Canadiens winning the lottery. No, thank you. We'll do it one more, and it better not be Montreal at San Jose. Montreal's got the number 2 pick, so there you go. So, all right, Russ, I know
this is a good option, though. San Jose, Montreal, Chicago, that's fine. Those are teams that were legit bad.
Right. Now, okay, this is just, you're going to see mock drafts from every other place here, and this is not, I think this is probably reflective of the NHL Central Scouting, but obviously.
Or whoever they're copying off of.
But Right, exactly.
Legitimately.
But and this is, I'm sure the list on NHLDraftBuzz.com is different.
No, but I mean, that's my number 4, right? I have a 5.0 that'll come out in the next 10 days because I have some thinking to do about a few players, so
but
U18 men's world.
But the number one, the clear number one is Celebrini, obviously. Right. Winner of the Hobie Baker. Played for Canada at the World Junior. I mean, he's an immense talent.
Yeah, all around talent. Like Jonathan Taves had that all around ability. He's got that all around ability.
Now, okay, how big is the drop off from Celebrini to the next two on this list, who are Russians, Ivan Demidov and Artem Leshunov, who played at Michigan State.
Well, so here's the thinking right now, as of today. Demidov, there's not a massive drop off because he's got tremendous offensive talent. He's got a great shot. He's one of those skaters that kind of like circles around you and makes you make a mistake. He's just relentless in the offensive zone. So it's a different kind of thing because we don't know what Demidov's all-around game is going to be. I'm assuming it's not going to be as good as him, but his passing is amazing. He's got a great release on his shot. The way he dekes defenders, goes into the net, his directional skating, there's a lot of things to like, right? So he's a top-line talent. So he's still a top-line talent.
And he's in the SCA system because it says St. Petersburg in the MHL.
Yeah. So. Then Levshunov's an interesting one because, again, and we were texting around with Anthony before, just because Mackenzie's list of like 10 scouts may say Levshunov's going to go 3rd or 4th or whatever, and just because other people may have him in other spots in mock drafts, and hopefully I don't do a mock draft this year, that would be great because I don't love them. End of the day, there's still going to probably be a couple teams that if they get that second pick, will take Levshunov because he could be a top pairing defenseman and they may have that need. And again, that's why you can't always go with the best player available because sometimes you look at a team and they're just like, you know what? Look at this system. We are desperate for a defenseman. This guy really fits the bill. Kind of like what New Jersey did, with Simone Nemec. So, and Shane Wright as a result dropped. The other things, I just want to point out some quickies, so some quick hits. Tisha Ginla is not going to fall to the Flyers. So for Flyers fans that are hoping he's going to be there, he's not going to be there. If Calgary picks anywhere from 5 to 10, they're going to take Tisha Ginla. I'm pretty sure of that. Yes. If it's earlier than that, then they might not. That's one thing. Lidstrom is an interesting one because he's had some injuries. So people are starting to dig into his medicals. We'll see. He's a tremendous talent, but that's that. For people that think like Kalenius might fall, like Kalenius is playing in the World Championships. He played in the World Juniors. He's playing He's playing in the World Championships. Just recently played in the tournament for U18 Men's World Junior. Who else did that, Mike? Recently, in those 3 tournaments, Jack Hughes.
Okay.
So I don't see him coming out of the top 5. So unless your team's in the top 5, I don't think he's going to fall. But I do think there could be 6 defensemen that go in the top 10, and that's what's going to cause some problems, I think, or there'll be some surprises.
Well, I mean, okay, 2 names, Cole Yzerman and Zeev Buyem. Buyem played on the Team USA and the World Juniors. This list, which again is just a projection, has Buyem 6th, this Yzerman 5th, but I know that you mentioned that Yzerman's ranking had dropped during the year.
You can see that there are draft nicks and people that are down on him a little bit. I mean, my last one, I have Yzerman 6th and I have Buyem 8th. Okay, So why do I have that? Because Yzerman's still the best goal scorer in this draft. Now, you want to pick apart, he's not great away from the puck. Okay. He's not Oliver Wahlstrom. Don't say he's Oliver Wahlstrom because Oliver Wahlstrom never had as many goals and beat Cole Crawford's record for the NTDP. He's better than that.
Right.
He is a great skater, and he's already stronger than someone like Wallstrom was. So there's a big difference there.
And
Will
according
this game round out? Yeah, probably will round out a little in hockey, but in college. But Mike, end of the day, there's not that many true goal scorers in a draft. So there's going to be a limit if he falls to where he's going to fall. It's not like Angelo Esposito. He could score goals. This guy proved even in the U18 men's world, he could score goals. So
yeah, 28 goals last year as a 16-year-old, 25 and 24 games this year as a 17-year-old. He's going to be.
You're not even counting all the there's the NTDP, then what they do in the with the U18 team in the USHL. But he had 127 lifetime goals.
Yeah, no. I'm just reading off what
this year he had 120, not lifetime. Sorry, this year he had 127 goals.
Yeah. So, and he's according to this, he's going to BU next year. So he's going to replace because Celebrini not going back to college. He'll be in the NHL next year. Is it BU? I'm pretty sure it's BU that he's going to.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. So yeah, no,
it is all time. I don't know what my brain's fried.
Yeah, no.
All time for Eisman.
Russ is already on vacation. Anyway,
I am.
Okay, so we'll end it there. We'll be back on Monday with another edition of the Hockey Buzzcast, and by that time, hopefully the Edmonton Oilers will be down 3-0 in the best of 7 to Vancouver. But I wouldn't hold my breath on that because they're playing the Canucks with a third-string goaltender. I don't think Demko is coming back.
Not in this round, I don't think.
Yeah, and if it's an ACL, why would you come? I mean, why would you risk your career? The series I'm looking forward to the most is Colorado-Dallas. That's going to be a war.
Yeah, that's going to be a great series.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, it sets up where those teams kill each other. Edmonton beats Vancouver in 5, and Edmonton's all fresh and clean to go to the Cup final. So it's setting up for that, but we can always hope. All right, for Russ Cohen, I'm Michael Agello. Thanks for watching, and remember, without the buzz, it's just hockey.